Christian is an average guy from Poland who runs a small cleaning business. Life isn't easy for him. His business is struggling, and financial pressures are mounting. As stress builds, he starts drinking heavily and cheating on his wife, Stasia. Stasia, frustrated with Christian's behavior, decides to separate from him, leaving Christian heartbroken and alone. He spirals into depression, obsessively thinking about Stasia and wishing to win her back. Desperate for answers, he hires a private investigator to follow her, hoping to see what she's up to. The private investigator reports back to Christian, revealing that Stasia is dating another man named Dariusz. Dariusz is a normal guy who runs an advertising business. Christian's jealousy consumes him as he learns about their date. One night, fueled by alcohol and rage, he confronts Stasia at her home. In a fit of anger, he breaks down her door and assaults her, confessing that he hired someone to follow her. Instead of winning her back, he only pushes her further away, and the rage inside him grows. After the confrontation, Christian's anger shifts to Dariusz. He devises a plan to eliminate him for good. One morning, Christian goes to a payphone near Dariusz's office and pretends to be a client interested in advertising. He manages to get Dariusz's phone number and sets up a meeting with him for later that day. Christian is determined to confront Dariusz, but his intentions are far from innocent. Christian and Dariusz meet, but the details of their conversation remain unclear. Somehow, Christian tricks Dariusz into getting into his car. Once they are alone, Christian's violent side emerges. He drives Dariusz to a secluded area where he brutally attacks him. He ties him up and holds him captive for several days, refusing to give him food or water. The situation escalates, and Dariusz is terrified, realizing too late the danger he is in. After days of torment, Christian decides to dispose of Dariusz. He drives him to a nearby river and, in a cold moment, throws him in. Dariusz, weakened and unable to swim, drowns. Christian feels a mix of relief and triumph, believing he has gotten away with murder. To cover his tracks, he takes Dariusz's cell phone and sells it online to make some quick cash. He thinks he is clever, but the reality of his crime looms over him. Weeks later, fishermen find Dariusz's body in the river. They call the police, who launch an investigation. However, with little evidence and no leads, the case goes cold after several months. Christian, meanwhile, continues to live his life as if nothing happened. He feels invincible, convinced he will never be caught. But the weight of his crime begins to haunt him, even as he tries to push it aside. 3 years after the murder, Christian surprises everyone by publishing a crime novel. The book features a character named Chris B., who murders someone in a way similar to how Christian killed Dariusz. The details of Chris B.'s life mirror Christian's own struggles, and he even sells the murder weapon online, just like he did with Dariusz's phone. The book gains some attention, selling a few thousand copies, but it raises no suspicion about Christian's involvement in the real crime. A local detective decides to revisit cold cases and stumbles upon Dariusz's unsolved murder. He notices that Dariusz would have had his cell phone on him when he died, but the police never recovered it. The detective tracks the serial number of the phone and discovers it was sold online after the murder. To his shock, the seller's username is Chris B., the same name as the character in Christian's novel. This connection sparks a deeper investigation into Christian's life. The detective digs into Christian's background and finds out about the novel. He and his team search through the book for clues. Meanwhile, they also discover that Christian used a prepaid phone card when he called Dariusz's office to set up their meeting. The calls made from that card lead directly back to Christian's friends and family. The pieces begin to fit together, and Christian becomes a prime suspect in Dariusz's murder. As the police gather evidence, they finally approach Stasia for one last time. This time, they show her parts of Christian's novel, specifically sections that eerily mirror her life. Stasia, shocked and frightened, realizes that Christian has been writing about her and their relationship. She decides to cooperate with the police, sharing everything she knows about Christian's violent behavior and the private investigator. With Stasia's testimony and the evidence against him, Christian is arrested. In court, he is charged with Dariush's murder and found guilty, receiving a 25-year prison sentence. The story ends with the haunting realization that his own words led to his downfall, and he might have escaped justice if he hadn't written the novel at all.